Hi, this is Melanie with Screen Time with Mel, and today we are going to talk about Season 5, Episode 2 of The Handmaid's Tale. So let's go ahead and get started. Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me again here today. If you haven't checked out my review and recap on Season 5, Episode 1, then it is linked down below for your viewing pleasure. If you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. And if you're brand new for this channel, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you. Today we're going to talk about Season 5, Episode 2 of The Handmaid's Tale. I left it in Episode 1 where she was giving the baby the bath, and it looked like June was going to try and kind of get through the trauma that she's been in. Which of course is never easy. At the beginning, I felt like it was switching back and forth too quickly, and it left me a little disjointed. And it may be because I was focusing too hard on the different scenes that we were getting into, and I wanted to take notes. So that's why I think maybe next time I'll watch it through, and I'll figure out the best way that works for us, right? All right, so we did start with June burying the gun. Which, first of all, was it really even buried? I mean, it looked like she just moved some snow around and then covered it up. So when the snow melts, the gun's gonna be right there. But, you know, maybe that was just me. She got the shovel on and everything. It just didn't look like it was that deep. So I'm not real sure how committed she was to burying that gun. But it did look like she did that. And I think it was kind of a symbolic for her personally to put away the violence, which I really liked. Okay, so next up we get to where Serena gets off the plane and she's met with the commanders, Commander Lawrence and Nick, and Joseph is Commander Lawrence's first name, and Mark is there, and that tension is palpable. I mean, it is palpable. And then in the following scene, it does show where she knows that somebody helped June, and she's pretty sure that it was one of them. One, because of Nick's past relationship with June, and two, because Commander Lawrence is not a regular commander. So, yeah. So that was a very well played scene. I really enjoyed it. All right. Next up is we're going back to the Handmaids with Aunt Lydia, and we see Esther and Janine. You see where Janine is being a mentor, at least trying to be a mentor to Esther. What really I focused on in this and in the coming scenes with Janine and Esther is that Janine has given up so completely that she's no longer, she doesn't have the spark that she had. She is so completely given in to make sure that she survives. And honestly, when did Janine get recaptured? I don't recall this. I guess whenever they came and attacked that one area and June got away, but I didn't realize that Janine had gotten captured, so maybe it was just me not making assumptions or forgetting something, but I totally forgot about that or totally missed something. But then June, the next scene with June with the games and stuff, wow. I mean, their portrayal of PTSD is really good. I really like that. Although I don't like the person that June becomes when she's seeking revenge and when she starts thinking about making others suffer for what she suffered for. You know, suffer in the same way that she suffered. I get where it comes from. But you know, they always say violence begets violence, but it's hard not to go that route, and I can see where she comes from. But I also like I can't even remember her real name, but the previous Martha, I like what she said. She has a different, it's interesting to see these different approaches to trauma, because all three of the women, Moira ends up in the scene as well, all three of those women have had their trauma, and to see how the three of them react differently to it. They all had different trauma, don't get me wrong, and perhaps June's was one of the worst. I don't know, I have to imagine what Moya went through. I mean, she ended up in a whorehouse, and she doesn't even like men, so that couldn't have been easy either. So, I don't know. Who's to say who went through worse, you know? It's like asking a person who went into war, who went through the worst trauma. You know, the guy that lost his leg or the guy that watched his best friend of 20 years get blown up right in front of him. You know, what's the worst trauma? Who's to say? Anyway, I thought it interesting that they show these different reactions in that scene and kind of focus on that. It was really neat. Okay, so we go back, then it flashes back to the wake. And there is a scene between Janine, her daughter, and Mrs. Putnam, which is really considered her daughter's mother, but, you know. So Mrs. Putnam has more grace than I expected her to. And I would love for that to be fleshed out. I don't know if it's going to be, like I said, I'm not a reader of the books, but it would be really cool if they flesh that out and really develop that humanity or humane side of her, despite her wanting her own children. So I found that very interesting, and I wonder if that's going to develop more. And I would like it to develop more and become deeper and become more of a plot point. And here's the next thing. I thought it was so weird to have the handmade presentation at a wake. Who schedules that? What couldn't that be scheduled on different days? That is so weird to me. I don't understand that at all. If you can explain that to me from the books, please do down below. But it doesn't make any sense to me that they would have the presentation of a new handmaid at the same time that there's a wake. That makes no sense to me at all. I mean, if she'd already scheduled the presentation, I mean, can't you move that? You got ways to communicate, seriously. That was just the weirdest thing to me, to have those two things come at the same time. Very weird. Very, very weird. Alright, and then we go back to June, and June tells Luke, her husband, about what she did and what she sent to Serena the finger. And I love his reaction. It's like, what did that get you? How did that help you? So you want her to bring all of Gilead down on us? What did that do for you? I really hope that June tries to focus on her family. I love that he said that to her. I wish he would have said, hey, let's get you some help. Nobody mentions this at all. Let's get your traumatized ass some help, please. Nobody says that. I don't understand why not. And then we go back to Serena with the commanders. Oh my gosh, the balls on that woman, right? So after the last time she approached the commanders and what happened to her, she lost a finger. I can't believe she had the balls to go back to address the commanders. Granted, it was on behalf of her husband, but her husband was a traitor. So I was already questioning why they were even honoring him in the first place. But they convinced him for political reasons, to honor more. Watch it to find out why. But Serena has her own reasons. And that comes at the very last scene, which, wow. I'll talk about that in a minute. It's coming up. It's coming up in a minute. Okay, I'm not going to go beat by beat through the rest of it, only because it's just, there are little moments packed in here and there. I will tell you, I forgot that Mark was American. I don't know why I was thinking, I guess I was thinking he was Canadian because he's with them this whole time and always in Canada. But, yeah, he's American, okay? I realize he's probably an ambassador, but still, American. I totally forgot. So we go to the last scene with Janine and Esther. I got questions. I'm like, did Esther do the poison? When did she have the time to do the poison? Did the commander poison them? Why would he do that? And why would she's a nasty girl. And I was a little surprised at this when she started telling Janine exactly how she felt. But then I wasn't, because I remember how she was. And I don't know if it was, I think it was last season. She was nasty then. So I'm not surprised, because really, can you take that kind of nasty out of a person? I mean, granted she's traumatized, I get that, but she's also not a very nice girl. Which, if you really think about it, neither is June. But I don't know, I'm more sympathetic for June. Anyway, so what happened? Why? I mean, I guess if Esther did it, I get her wanting to kill herself. Where did she get the dang poison? And I guess her wanting to kill Janine. But why would she think that June would be proud of her? June never ever considered committing suicide and all of the stuff that she endured. So why would she? Or I don't know. It seems crazy to me. And maybe that's really just what it was. Crazy, right? I don't know. Anybody have insight on that? Let me know down below. I'd love to know, because that was weird for me. Alright, the next little bit is really just the end. It flips back and forth between Serena and June. June going on a date with her husband at the ballet, which was beautifully done, against the televised funeral of Commander Waterford. First of all, the fact that the wife's mourning gown looks like a wedding gown, only black. I mean, it's veiled. It's got a train. It's just, it's fascinating. I feel like there's more meaning in that, but I can't grasp it. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was fascinating. And then put against the beauty of ballet. It's wonderful. And then you get this sweet scene at the end with June and her husband, where they're talking about having another kid, and they're kissing. It's a very sweet scene. It felt like maybe a little bit of weight lifting off of her. And then all of a sudden, June sees the televised funeral and Mrs. Waterford with her daughter, Hannah. And you know that was orchestrated by Serena. You know it was done to stab June in the heart. You know it was. So you know that's just going to galvanize June to get Hannah back. And maybe even galvanize her husband, Luke, to do the same. I don't know. We'll see the fallout next week. But that's how the episode ended. Yeah, you get this quick back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then you get a little bit longer switches between scenes, and then you get this back and forth where they're together, going together, and it's like it comes to a crescendo, and it's fascinating how they did that. And the music at the end was perfect. The music choice, it was perfect. So they did such an amazing job with that. Thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate you. If you have any comments or think I missed something or would like for me to include other things that I'm not including, comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Join in the conversation. That's the whole reason why I'm doing this, is to get in the conversation with other like-minded people. I would love to have that happen. So please comment down below. Also, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you could please hit that subscribe button and hit the bell so that you're reminded each time I come out with a brand new video. I promise you, I will be back with more. I do plan on doing Willow and stuff that's been out for years, but I still watch, like Law and Order SVU, and just tons of other stuff that's coming out. All the new seasons are coming out, and I'm excited for a bunch of them. What I do not plan on doing, just so you know, and I may have mentioned this in my last video, I do not plan on going into stuff that's already been over, the seasons are over, or mid-season. So I watched She-Hulk, and I watched Rings of Power, and I watch House of the Dragon, but those are mid-season, so I may revisit them whenever we get in between seasons and I've got a little bit more time, but for now I'm not going to do those. I will pick them up on the second seasons when they come around, but for now I am not doing the first seasons. So without further ado, thank you all again so much for being here with me today. I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys have an amazing day. Bye-bye.